So today we got a panelists here that are all from the world of business. And they're going to talk to you a little about their backgrounds. But we're going to really touch on this concept of leadership, character, right? Leadership and character. I'll kick it off. My name is Teddy Bias. I'm Leo's dad. I got to tell you, when Leo graduated from here, he didn't want to leave. I remember walking outside and he said, "I'm not leaving here. I'm staying one more year." I said, "What?" "No." He goes, "No, I love this place." And when he went off to play football at Rhode Island, he's like, "They don't treat us like they treated us at Bosco. There's no brotherhood. That teamwork is not there." So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around the room. Each person's going to give you about a minute to 2 minutes about their background. Then we're going to have what's called a fireside chat. We're going to talk. We're going to talk about these two topics: leading humans, people, and being a leader, and your character. We're going to start off with our alumni from Bosco.
How's it going? I'm Kevin Brennan. If you recognize my last name, it's because my little brother's in your class. So obviously, I do not look like I'm in business. So I graduated Bosco when I was in 2018. Got here in 2014. I played football here. 2015 state champs. Went on to play at Navy. So I was at Navy from 2018 to 2022. Played football there as well. Now I'm in the Marine Corps. So following going to the Naval Academy, basically all the officers go to the basic school, and then you get your job from there. So I joined the infantry in the Marine Corps. And so now I'm in a unit in Camp Lejeune in North Carolina in the infantry. And essentially my first job in the Marine Corps was to be a platoon commander. So I was in charge of about 45 other Marines, basically their moral, mental, physical welfare and training. And then now I'm a company executive officer. So basically second in command of about 200 guys. And basically the same thing for just more people. So you're probably wondering why I'm on the business panel. I was wondering the same thing myself. But essentially, I'm here and I can kind of bridge the gap between things that seem really far down the line for you guys, and then myself sitting in your shoes about 7 years ago. And what you'll find in these leadership panels is that all the traits of leadership are the same. So whether it's in business, in athletics, or in the military, I challenge you guys to find those common themes across leadership because it's really all the same. A good leader in business is a good leader in the military, is a good leader in athletics. So happy to be here with you guys and looking forward to this.
Thanks, Kevin. Already introduced myself, but I'm James Ebert, graduated in 2015 with Leo. I was on the crew team at Bosco. Any crew team athletes? Yeah, there's not many of them, but that's okay. Do they still have a crew team? They do. Cool. Yeah, so absolutely loved my time at Bosco. I mean, I could talk about that for days, but was just involved in anything and everything: youth ministry, yearbook, editor-in-chief. Just those were the glory days, I like to call them. But I actually started my own business while I was in Bosco. I was 16. I started my own web design business. So I've grown that over the years as sort of my side hustle. I work full-time in consulting, data analytics consulting. Also basically work full-time as president of the Leonidas Foundation too. So juggling 3 different things at once, but wouldn't trade it for the world. It's given me a lot of amazing opportunities, and looking forward to telling you guys a little bit more about it.
Thank you. And my name's Dan McCann. I class of 91. A state championship in 1990, so only won 1 football state championship. So Bosco taught me how to deal with failure and accept that, and I think my career has been a tremendous failure, and I'm looking forward to telling you guys about that. I came to Bosco to get a scholarship to play college football, and there's 2 tight ends from 1991 class talking today. One is me, and the other's talking about his 30-year NFL career, and you'll see him in the athletics section. So I failed to even be the best tight end at Bosco while I was here. So I went on and played baseball in college instead. And after making the team for a couple of seasons at James Madison University, I failed to break the starting lineup. So I left and I transferred out, and I was able to break the record for the most triples in the country and become an All-American there. But that was from a path of failure that I led to that. And my professional career was quite the same. When I graduated college, I wanted to do one of two things. I either wanted to go down the finance path or sell software, because those guys made a lot of money and I wanted to do that. And after 7 years of failing to do either of those two things, I decided to start a company and teach software salespeople how to sell and prospect more effectively. I was lucky enough to train about 10,000 of them and build a company that was Fortune 5,000 fastest growing for a few years. And while I was there, I realized services and training companies don't get really great multiples and they don't sell for a lot of money. So I decided, hey, why don't I go ahead and build a technology and make it a tech-enabled service so I can get a better multiple? And I failed miserably at that for 5 years and wasted a ton of money. So what I decided to do then was go start a software company and try it again. So at this point, I'm running a company called SimTrain. It's an AI coaching software. It's the second largest in the world, so which means I've failed to be the largest. So that's my objective, and I plan to get there. But I'm still at it and trying to get there. So look forward to talking to you guys today.
Thanks, Dan. I know based on that, everyone here is looking to your spectacular failure on this panel. My name's Tom Christopole. It's good to be here with you all. I was born and raised not far from here. Teddy and I grew up together. We're both from Greek immigrant families. We can maybe talk about that later. I graduated from, I did not go to Bosco. My son attended Bosco and played soccer here. I graduated from Rutgers University. I have a master's from Purdue. I studied philosophy, so I was precisely unqualified to do everything I did in my career. I look forward to passing that bad advice on to you. Mostly in private and public equity over the last 30 years, the last 10 years or so in real estate. So we're looking forward to some interaction later. It's good to be here with you.
Good morning. So unlike all the other panel members, I don't have a true Bosco connection except for this guy here that used to visit my office in government. I'm Keith Jones, born and raised in Los Angeles, South Central Los Angeles. Just like you all, I went to an all-boys high school, Loyola College Prep in LA, one of the top schools in California. Leaving there and going to college, and from college going into then private sector for a very brief time. And private sector, it was kind of like, what the heck am I doing? I actually was driving a bus around LAX for years. And I was like, this is not it. And I said, my family did not pay all this money for me to drive around LAX, dropping off passengers for Avis Rent-A-Car. So one day I just left. I left, and next day I went to then the Office of Personnel Management. You had to take a test if you wanted to go into the government. I went and took the test, passed with flying colors. 3 days later, I received a call from the Immigration and Naturalization Service. I had no idea, just like some of you may not know, what the heck the Immigration and Naturalization Service was. But anyway, I was this young kid going and working at INS. Needless to say, that began my federal career. I ended up spending over 38 years of public service, providing back to citizens across the US. And while at INS, I took on positions starting as a file clerk typist, working in a congressional liaison office, then going to an intern program, and also interviewing individuals for naturalization and citizenship. So beyond that, I went into an internship at INS headquarters in Washington, DC, stayed there for about 5 years, came back to Los Angeles because I felt I needed to be the ostrich amongst everyone else in order to make myself noticed. I went back to Laguna Niguel, working there. Laguna Niguel, California is right in Orange County. And I worked there in progressive positions, started as a senior computer programmer, then became the director of IT, where I was also running 5 different states out of the West Coast. Stayed there until 2000. Many of you don't know about Y2K, but that was that was something that a few of us can reflect on. And that's when people said, if things don't happen, things are going to just fail. So I worked there at INS headquarters through Y2K. Then, of course, we had 9/11 that happened. 9/11 changed the lives of many people. It also changed my life about what it really meant to give back and provide public service. So after 9/11, I became the transition lead of, we had three entities within INS. One went to U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services. The other went to U.S. Customs Service for border protection. And the other went into Immigration and Customs Enforcement, known as ICE. I stayed behind and went, the administrative functions came over to ICE. I worked out of ICE where I became the Deputy Chief Information Officer, running all of IT for the agency. At the time, prior to that, I oversaw over 255 offices running global deployment across the world. And after ICE, I went into Department of Homeland Security's inaugural Senior Executive Service Program, top program in the department, where leaders are taught, educated, and actually you're told to make your own way over a period of 14 months. Went there, and during that time within the program, I was appointed as a senior executive, a member of the Senior Executive Service, working for DHS headquarters. I also did details at the Special Agents in Charge office in New Orleans, Louisiana. Worked at the Federal Law Enforcement Training Center in Glenn County, Georgia, and also did a White House detail while ending up at DHS headquarters and being appointed as IT operations director. Little did I know that I was telling my own story or making my own story throughout my career. Beyond that, I went over to U.S. Citizenship and Naturalization Service, U.S. and Citizenship and Immigration Services, went there, and I became the deputy CIO there. And I retired as acting CIO and principal deputy CIO back in 2018, which seemed just like yesterday. After I retired, I decided I was going to start my own company, started a consulting company, and being pretty successful in that, I received the call from the Biden administration prior to them taking office, asking if I would consider a political appointee position. Not knowing what I was getting myself into, I accepted the role, and next thing you know, I was heading up as CIO for the Department of State. So from there, I stayed there close to 18 months, a little over 18 months before returning back to public sector. And so now I'm doing consulting. I'm here today willing to tell my story.
Thank you. All right, so we're going to ask some great questions about leadership and character. Is it born? Are you born a leader? Or do you develop it over time, or both? So I'm going to pass it first to Tom. Tom, are you born a leader, or do you create that character?
Very dramatic question there, Teddy. I think this must be the trick question, because if any of you guys were paying attention to Coach Riley, and I certainly was, and I hope you are too, because I learned something, and I'm a lot older than you. What we learned from his talk is what I believe, which is all the elements of what you would call leadership, or what generally people regard as leadership, or within any individual. And the real question is whether the circumstances in that individual's lives and their own motivations and actions tap into those qualities to develop and expand and extend such that they are over time a leader. So the answer is, people will tell you occasionally that some individuals have characteristics that are connected to or emblematic of leaders, but leaders are not born. They're developed over time, and they're not developed individually. They're developed by the individual in question and the team, and presumably family and friends around them.
Thank you. Would you like to chime in?
So, just like Tom said, and also Coach said, I think there are traits of leadership that are instilled within you. that are instilled within you. But then over time, you begin to develop those skills based on the path that you choose every day. We all go through life. We have choices, and every day is a choice of which way you want to go. Being here is a choice for many of us. Being here is a choice for you because you could have stayed at home and said, "I'm sick today," but you choose to be here because you want to learn. And I think that's so critically important. As I went through my federal career, I had to develop those leadership skills. When I looked at teams, I had to understand what it took to bring a true team together, making sure that we had team synergy, making sure I had individuals that supported me, whether I led or was part of the team, that we all blended over time. And you do go through the forming, norming, and storming process where sometimes you're not getting along with everyone because it's part of building that team. But then once you get that team culture, that team synergy, it takes you such a long way. And you're able to take that, grab it, and next thing you know, you have those that will just run through a door for you. So many of the individuals that I led throughout my career, one of the things that I reflect on, there were two things that I attended that were really meaningful. One was one with Stephen Gower, and it was, what do they say when they see you coming? And the second one was with John Strzelecki, and his was about the big five for life. What are the five things you want to do before you die? And just you take the time to read that book, look up Stephen Gower, and understand what do they say when they see you coming. You can see that you almost live it every day. And I think one of the most representative things about what others saw in me is that when I returned back to DHS headquarters, when I walk the halls of U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, when I come across those that work for me or I work with, they smile and they hug because they see you coming. They're not hiding, they're not avoiding. And even as a leader in the workplace, I'd walk through, we have a workforce of over 1,200 people in IT. Walk through, sit down with them just to see, hey, what's going on with you today? What are you working on? Many people don't have that opportunity. There's some people that will just avoid that discussion, but it's important because you develop a connection with people.
Let's expand on leadership and character around failure. And I like where you were talking, Dan. You're buying companies, Tom, you're buying companies, but you're looking for leadership and character. And the people that are buying your products are looking at you for leadership and character. Can you expand a little on that?
Sure. So developing leadership, right, or being a leader, I think breaks down to two really important things. One is, do you care? Like genuinely and truly care. And it's pretty easy, right? I think Brian was talking about before, right, in terms of, when you're giving back and doing things, being kind takes no talent, and caring doesn't really take a whole lot of talent either. And that's really important as developing a leader and being a leader as well. So a really great story. I was at a conference and one of my clients came up to me and she said, "Hey, Dan, I want to tell you something. I spent 2 days with your VP of CX, and I just wanted you to know she'll never leave. She'll never go anywhere. And it's because you believed in her. You gave her a chance, and you put her in a position where she could succeed, and you supported her 100%. And she tells that to me and to other people, and that means so much to her. And that's the point of developing her and her character and her as a leader. But that was just an awesome thing to hear, right? You're having impact on somebody's life that's that meaningful. It's really cool. And our clients come to us and work with us because of those attributes in all the people that work at SimTrain.
Thank you, Dan. James, I'd like to expand on that. Talk to us about how important leadership and character is during failure. And then I'd like to also hear from you, Kevin, on that. because that's when it shows and it shines.
I think the theme of just being a good person is a huge testament to what it means to be successful too, right? Everyone has their own definition of what success means and what success looks like. For me, I've asked myself a lot of reflective questions recently, right? Like, what is important to me? Is what I'm doing on a regular basis something I enjoy doing? Is it doing good for other people, right? And I think what it has come down to for me specifically is I do get so much joy out of helping others in everything that I do. So the web design business gives me the opportunity to use my skills to be able to help these other small businesses succeed and just do better, right? Um, Oddly enough, one of my clients is Mrs. Cesari. She has her own business on the side where she does music lessons and whatnot, and I've built her website for her. So giving people the opportunity to be able to show their skills through their website and be able to pay it forward and help others is something that I take a lot of joy in. And that's why I want to work more toward doing something like that as my day to day rather than working for, corporate America where all your money goes up the chain and people figure out how to not pay taxes on all of that money, but everyone probably has their own version of what that looks like, right? So yeah, just I guess that's something that I wanted to share, right? Like, you guys are here now thinking probably, what do I want to do when I grow up? I don't know what I want to do when I grow up either, right? But being a good person and finding the good in others and helping others, that's a good place to start.
Success and failure, leadership and character. You're leading these young men and women. You're in the business of working. How's this people?
Yeah. So, I mean, failure is probably one of the biggest parts of leadership, understanding how to fail as a leader. So, like, personally, you really have to prepare yourself as a leader to fail. And you don't do that in the moment with your team. You have to do hard things outside of, your team, your unit, whatever it is, and push yourself to that limit so that you can fail on your own, so that in front of your men, failure is not new to you and you know how to react to it. Building up that resiliency for yourself and understanding that the job of a leader is to absorb the fear of the people around you and then exude hope into everybody else. Understand that people are watching your body language pretty much at all times, especially whether on a football team, you're playing lacrosse, you're on a hockey team, or you're in the Marine Corps. People are looking to you to see what kind of leadership you're going to portray that day. Now, talking about the resiliency piece, I'll tell you guys a story about one of my Marines because I think it kind of exemplifies everything that I'm talking about here. So we had a Marine who he was in about like $40,000 of debt. Marines, they often make really dumb decisions. They're just out of high school, usually come from bad backgrounds, don't understand how to handle their money. They go out and buy things because it's the first time they had money in their life. So this Marine went out, bought a car. He's now $40,000 in debt, and he's not really happy with his life. His family back home is pretty much non-existent. He doesn't really have a father in the picture or anybody that he feels like he can lean on. So one day, we were actually deployed for a little bit, and he was having trouble then. And we came back, and it was one night, and he shot himself in the head. So now bear with me here. This turns into resiliency of a leader. So that Marine crawls across the hallway, and lo and behold, he knocks on his buddy's door with his head bleeding because somehow he lived. And that Marine that is now the leader that answers the door sees his buddy bleeding from the head, and it's the resiliency that that Marine built up over time prior to that moment to apply life-saving aid, call 911, and save that Marine's life. So, like I said before, you need to fail on your own first in training, push yourself to those limits in order to rise to that occasion once the moment comes and your buddy's looking to you as a leader to ultimately possibly save their life, or maybe in your case, score the goal that you need to in lacrosse, or in football at halftime when you guys are down maybe 3 scores in a state championship and you're the leader that people are looking to. It's important to build up that resiliency and understand that you're going to fail, and that's okay, but people are going to look to you in those moments.
So what you have here is three forms of business. You have the business of military, you have the business of the private sector, and you have the business of government. So let's maintain that thought. You're constantly building businesses and leading people, but there's failure, constant failure. And for yourself, Dan, you're trying to sell into a client. You got all these people behind you. Their livelihood is based on you and your organization. So how important is that character of that, your culture, your character of your firm, and the people that you're leading, and how clients think about you?
Yeah, so I was talking to one of our VCs, and he was talking about the growth of SimTrain and how well things are going. And he said, Dan, what gets you most excited? And I said, the thing that scares me is what gets me most excited, right? And all these people, I got 50 of them now at SimTrain, their lives depend on our success and our ability to continue to perform. And it puts a lot of pressure on me, right? When it was just me with an idea, it was kind of easy, because the truth is, even when you fail, you can't really fail. You're only going to learn how to do something different, right? And do better. But when there's 50 families that rely on you, it becomes a lot harder. And so one of the things we rely on to build character is our core values. And Brian talked about it, James talked about it as well. And that's important to us. And core values for SimTrain isn't something we talk about or we write on the wall. We live by it. And as odd as this sounds, we actually fire people if they don't fit our core values, right? And we do that as a service to them, because they need to go work somewhere where they fit in, and they need to go make a difference in their lives and with their careers. And it's really important to us that the folks that we invite participate in our core values and it's meaningful to them, right? So as we develop character and leadership and our people, we track and measure, like with actual metrics, their ability to align with and follow our core values, because that's what we're all about. And that's what's going to make our company grow. And it's different than a lot of other companies. So that's really important way. You each have your own set of core values and you live by them. And that's really important. And you should invite people into your life that have very similar core values to you. It'll help you develop and continue to grow.
Tom, you led a couple of companies. You had to become the CEO. Then you had to spin off that company. Then you came back. And then you started buying companies or investing in them. But how important is the leader of that company, or the culture and the ethics of the character of the people that work in that company? Or is it all about the numbers?
Yes. No, look, I don't think it's valuable for me to repeat what other people have said. I can emphasize the fact that what Coach Riley was echoing, what Dan just echoed, what you've heard from all the panelists, right? Which is that the so to speak culture of how a team operates over time is the distinctive characteristic that attributes success over the long term. There's lots of wins and losses along the way, and I'm the first to tell you that a lot of failure and a lot of success, for that matter, is timing. When you've entered the workforce, how the company does that you might work for. We heard some great examples of kind of accidental success and failure. So those accidents are going to happen, and you should embrace them, right? If they're successful, you should also embrace them if they're failures, because as Winston Churchill said, success is defined by successive failures with no loss of enthusiasm, which is a good way to think about how you move from one thing to another. So the answer, Teddy, is, we're all accountable, like you guys are. If you're accountable to your athletic coaches, you're accountable to your parents, you're accountable to your teachers, you're accountable for your grades. Those things are measured just like the way in business we're measured by the numbers that are output by the businesses that we may operate, or however it is we may be in commerce. That is the scorecard, so to speak, right? The method of achieving the the goal, right? The way a team may be a champion, may win a championship. Generally speaking, when a championship is won, the last thing that people look at is the score on the scoreboard, because that's the output. What they end up talking about, and there's plenty of people here, including your own experiences you can reflect on here. What you remember about those successes is the connectivity, as it's been referred to here today, the brotherhood that you enjoy, that creates the differential, that creates that outcome. So one is a scorecard, Teddy, which is not unimportant, because you have to pay attention to those things. The how, the methodology that you employ, the work that you do, the connectivity and teamwork that creates that output is ultimately the thing that is persistent and repeatable.
Rhonda, how are we doing on time? What do we have left? Because I don't want to get 10 more. Okay. Juniors in here, right? Anybody in the Leo program or looking at the Leo program? That's what I like to see, right? Leadership, humans, leaders, entrepreneurship, right? Understanding how to pivot and look at a problem and solve it and create a business around it. But opportunity, an obligation you have. I wanted to spend the next 10 minutes, and if I was in your shoes, right? I was a kid, a junior in high school again, scratching myself, trying to understand what to do in life. My parents would tell me one thing, but my uncles and aunts would tell me something that I resonated to. And then I'd reach out to other people, and it kind of clicked. And I want to ask our panelists, if they were in your shoes today, right? Back as high school juniors, thinking about their future, what they like or don't like, knowing what they know in their journey right now, starting from Keith, who's retired in the government sector, Tom and Dan, who are in the private sector, building companies, to James, who's early in his career and he's walked out of Bosco and he's been now an entrepreneur running 3 little companies and a nonprofit. And then to Kevin, who's a Marine and understanding the business of government and military, but the leadership skills. So I want to ask them, what do they think those top 3 or 5 things are that they wish they knew when they were in your position? Good question. Come on, I see some sleepy eyes. Yeah, good. All right. We'll start with Keith.
Okay, let's see here. I would say that, you know, I kind of dropped into Loyola High School because I actually originated at another high school, Mount Carmel High School, and then it closed down on me. I went to Loyola, and I did not like my first year at all. I was great on the football team, but I hated the classroom, you know, and it was just a different challenge. So I would say that, you know, just a good catch. I would say that, you know, really focusing on the academics a little more in my initial sophomore year. And then as I progressed, once graduating, really graduating with a career mindset. I really had no idea. I didn't have this type of exposure in order to listen to panelists on what was really out there. So I was kind of like floundering on what I wanted to do, so because I just happened to step on, you know, hey, I can do government service. And actually, I think I was telling someone the other day that how I even got to government service was the fact that I remember laying on my grandmother's floor watching TV, and this commercial came on with someone like keying into this amber screen keyboard. No, amber screen with the, you know, using the keyboard. And I was saying, that's it. That's what I want to do. I want to do data entry. And I took that, and when I interviewed at INS, they said, what do you want to do? I said, data entry. And so that kind of launched me and propelled me to other things. And the other thing I would say I would change is, you know, oh, 3 minutes. I got to go. Anyway, I would say just trust yourself trust your gut, and be that leader that you can be.
Oh my God. I would definitely like to know the winner of the Kentucky Derby. Would have bet a lot of money on that. I would have probably like to know what Google stock would have been when it first IPO'd. Yeah, I don't know. I probably would have preferred to know everything I didn't know. And since that's not an option, I think the answer to that question is I probably continue to, well, I think the answer is nothing, to be completely honest. I'm not sure that thinking about someone else's version of what they wish they had in their life makes a damn bit of difference to anybody. And it, in my opinion, shouldn't. I think the thing, or at least hopefully what you're hearing today, is investing in yourself, investing in those qualities that can turn you into, over time, a leader, investing in being a good person and creating the kind of culture and the kind of team you want to play in. Those are the things that make a difference in your life. And thinking about what you don't know should just provide you motivation for doing more of that, in my opinion. So I think the answer is I wouldn't have known anything different, because I wouldn't have accomplished what I did if I knew it. So there you go.
That's awesome. So I'll tell you three things quick. So number one is you're defined by the relationships you keep, like it or not. We're all individuals and we're talented, but your definition is from those relationships. Number two, the contracts you make in those relationships and business, they're defined by 100-0 relationship. They're not 50-50. If you go in giving 100% and expecting 0 in return, you are going to achieve success. And the third is no one, not anyone, makes your decisions except you. It's a burden and it's a gift. And so enjoy that and know that you're taking that with you and have fun with those decisions that you're making.
Just to piggyback off of Dan, I guess the one takeaway I'll mention is building your circle of people. If those are Bosco guys, great. If it's people you meet in college, great. Just build strong relationships with people that you care about the most, because you are going to need to rely on them. Things get hard in life. You're going to face challenges. Things are easy when you're here at the prep. Rely on the people that matter most to you and be there for them when they need you.
Yeah, I'll just leave you guys with one thing. As a leader, the most important thing is the people you lead. And so the relationships that you build with them, the amount of time that you pour into them, whether it has to do with your job or not, whether like it's literally just a personal issue that they're having, but they know that you care about them enough for them to come to you with that problem and you can try to fix it for them. So the first most important thing is the people that you lead. The second most important thing is the leaders that you're leading with. Your loyalties kind of horizontally, whether you're a team captain, and loyalty to your other team captains to make sure that you guys are the best possible team that you could be. And then finally, the people that lead you. So leading up, essentially, providing that accountability to whether it's your coaches or the people in charge of you to help them to be the best leaders that they can. But it's really about all the people around you and the relationships that you build.
Do we have time for questions? Great, we're going to have time for questions. Let's take 2 questions, and let's also think about where we are in this institution called Bosco, right? A place where you're focused on your mind. You can also focus on your body, but thankfully you can also focus on your spirit, right? There's something inside you that drives you, and God gave you this gift, and you're looking for it. And once you find it, you will do so much of it, right? Now, first question. Yes, sir. It's a great question. Why is failure so necessary for success?
The key to success is doing, right? Don't just plan, don't just strategize, but go do. And if you accept failure, you're not afraid to fail. And so you're not afraid to go do. And that's really, really important. Those are the people that make the biggest difference, are the doers.
A quick one here. Raise your hand if you have a girlfriend. All right, cool. You'll indulge me for just a second. I'm guessing most of you guys are going to graduate from here, hopefully all of you, maybe not all with honors, but you'll get out. Most of you, I'm going to guess, are going to go to college and probably get a gig after that. And I'm guessing that many of you are going to get married and have families. I hope that's true. Every relationship, romantic relationship you have in your life, including the one you're in now, except for the last one, is going to be a failure. I hate to be the guy to tell you that, but if you're not prepared to get through that, you're not going to get to the end point.
With failure, you learn, especially in the world of technology. We learn to fail fast because once you fail, you take everything that may have gone wrong and you see what is it you would have done differently or what you will do differently in order to be successful. And that kind of like balloons into success over time because you don't relive the failures. You keep it moving.
Okay, we're going to take one more question, and I just wanted to also talk about failure. Why is it so important? You got AI, right? AI doesn't fail on you, right? It's artificial intelligence, but you as humans are going to lead and think. So every time you step forward, you might screw it up, or you might learn from it. I'm going to go with one question over here, and then if we can, we'll take one more. Yes, sir. Your name? Sorm? All right.
So if you know about the Naval Academy, you would have to join the military after. So you can join the Navy, you can join the Marine Corps. The Marine Corps I saw is basically the closest thing that I could bring myself back to being a part of a team. I really like the first thing I experienced at Bosco. So obviously all guys here, being a part of a football team, being a part of like a tight knit community is something that I really wanted to carry with me through the rest of my life. From going to Navy, being a part of the football team, and then joining the Marine Corps. Really, the brotherhood that you get from the Marine Corps is something that's really special, and also it's hard. It's something that you can continue to challenge yourself with physically, mentally, emotionally, especially when you invest a lot into it. So it's something that I just wanted to keep doing in my life.
Kevin's one of four siblings. His older brother graduated out of Annapolis and now is now teaching back at Annapolis. He was a captain of a ship. His little sister just graduated Annapolis and she's a pilot. And he has a little brother in the Leo program here at Bosco. So, do we have time for one more question? We do. Sir, your name so I can hear it. Santino. Great question. When you reach failure, rock bottom, what keeps you motivated? Well, I'll tell you, when we lost Leo, I was at my rock bottom. I needed no life. But I said, Leo was a kicker, and he kicked the ball to somebody, and those guys that would catch the ball would take a knee. And I said, I'm not going to take a knee for my son. I'm going to run the ball back, get hit as many times as I can until I can score for him. So failure is what draws out your inner good. That's the thing we were talking about before. Mind, body, spirit. You got a great body right now. You're young and you're going to work out and then you'll get older and fat, right? You got a great mind and you'll learn things and you'll put stuff in that gym bag of yours, of your brain. But that spirit inside you, that takes off. God gave you this little thing. And you can do great things if you decide, I want to do something good. And the best way to do good is for somebody else, or the family around you, or your parents, or the family you create, or the team that you're part of. Do we have time to answer that question?
The word that came to mind when I was listening to Teddy is I love that guy. I love what he said. I'm going to ask you guys, when it deals with failure, it's a really hard thing to turn to a male who's a friend and tell him, I love you. It's a challenge. And I'll ask you guys to challenge yourself to do that. It opens up a whole world, right? And Teddy, I love you for saying that. That was awesome. Thanks.
All right, this afternoon we've got a lot of food. Pardon? Oh, we can. We can take one more question. But I want to make sure you know that this afternoon you should try to network. There's a power of networking. Talk to these guys. Shake their hand. Look them in the eye. Ask them a question. Link in. One more question. Way in the back. For those who went to Bosco, what prepared you for the real world? And those that wanted to go to Bosco. Kevin?
Yeah, so my experience at Bosco, going to school, obviously, it's not always easy. And then especially playing football here is not easy either. It's really just the tough times you go through is what will build you up. Understand that relying on the guys next to you is important, and understanding that, everything that you're doing now at Bosco, whether it's in academics or whatever extracurriculars, is going to end up building you up for the future. So taking every single hardship that you face here as an opportunity to build yourself for the future.
I mentioned before, when I was at Bosco, I was involved in a lot of different clubs and extracurriculars. So I'm assuming a lot of people here are too. I'd say that helped build a lot of leadership qualities for me. Just being able to juggle, being on the crew team, eventually becoming captain, being an ambassador, and coming to the open houses on the weekends, yearbook editor. Just being able to balance all of those things is very relevant to what you do in day-to-day life, right? Like just project management 101. Bosco is giving you the skills that you need to succeed without even realizing it.
We lost to Bergen. And it pissed me off, right? I hate losing. And we won a state championship. And after we won the state championship, that's all I ever wanted to do was win a football state championship at Don Bosco Prep. And when we did, I had an empty feeling inside. It kind of hurt. And when I look back, I realized it wasn't the score at the end of the game, 21-20, by the way, against Queen of Peace. It was actually the journey that we took along the way, and the pain and the suffering and what we put in as brothers and as teammates that took us to that state championship. And I took that with me, right? So there's no obstacle or challenge I face in life that I don't know that I can overcome because of, the relationships I made here and the things that we accomplished at Bosco. And we beat Bergen in the semis.
Look at that. One more. I guess they don't want to leave the other room, so we can ask questions all day. Yeah. Leadership, character, leadership, character, leadership, character. Sir. Say it loud. Excellent question. Staying committed 100% of the time. Even when the going's good and you get a little, calm on your laurels, or it's gone bad. Staying committed 100% of the time. Keith, who wants to handle this question? James, too?
I think that's a very relevant question even today, especially within government service. There's many times that you take on an initiative that really may not be going so well, but you stick with it and you stay with it through fruition. And then you find yourselves winning and you find yourselves smiling. You find your team succeeding because of their commitment. And, government service is never about the money. It's about what you give back. I think one of the biggest honors that I had in my federal career was to be able to swear thousands of individuals in for citizenship, do an oath of ceremony across the country. And being able to do that and see others. Some may be here today that were sworn in and naturalized. But being able to do that and seeing that is something that goes so far and helps you win and makes you come back for more.
I think it's hard to, yeah. So I don't think you could always be 100% committed because you're always going to face adversity, right? Teddy was talking about when Leo passed, he didn't have the will to live. When that happened, I was in a very dark place. It was a very, very tough time for me. I just could not wrap my head around it. It was really the first time I ever experienced loss in my life. And I think that that's why I've latched on to Leo and his legacy so much. Something he always, something he said to me that I always will never ever forget. I was actually his tutor while at Bosco. I made that joke about the biology exam in my speech, but um, something he would say to me was, "You're never going to give up on me, are you, Ebert?" And those words have just echoed in my head. And I do think that through the Leonidas Foundation and all of the good things that we're doing, that's me not giving up on him. And it's also me not giving up on myself, because it's hard to give yourself 100% to the things that you're working toward when you go through those really, really tough times. But like I said, the people that you surround yourself with and the good that comes from all of that and the people that lift you up are what could help get you through anything. And that's going to be a lot of your Bosco brothers here.
Time? So we just had time. Whoever's sleeping, wake him up, right? But think about what you heard today. And at lunchtime, walk up to those folks, network with them, shake their hand, ask them about their life, ask them the question you didn't want to ask when you were in a crowd of Bosco guys. And I want to remind you, Leo was a BC student, and BC students are scrappy, right? They're fighters. They're like a dog on the bone. Once they find what they like, they can't have enough. So he always wanted to be an entrepreneur, a business person, and he would always ask you, what do you do? Why do you want to do that? Try to think about you as a leader. But the other piece was you have an obligation. Pay forward in life and pay back something, right? You're in this place with all your other brothers. God bless you. I look forward to seeing you this afternoon. Thank you for attending today.